What's up, NIO family? This is Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with NIO, Tesla, SPY, and the broader markets. I'm going to break down some big news that's coming out involving Palantir's earnings, what's happening with the stock market moving forward. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link that's down below, or sign up with my QR code that's right over here. Moomoo is an amazing global brokerage that's giving away free Nvda shares. If you sign up and deposit $100, you're going to get $20 worth of Nvidia stock. Deposit $2,000 to get $50 worth. Deposit $10,000 to get $300 worth, and deposit $50,000 to get $1,000 worth of Nvidia stock. This offer ends very soon. You also qualify for an 8.1% APY on invested cash, so check out my links down below. Anyways, now let's talk about what's happening with the market. So NIO is trying to push higher. And I said I want to see this try to hold this inverse head and shoulders area around this $5 zone to push for 5.4. But so far we rejected off the $5 areas. We're seeing a buy the rumors sell the news event. And we struggled to hold above 4.8, so we're still showing some weakness. We're going to see if NIO could hold 4.5. It might be dipping a bit more to test, and then we'll see if we bounce or not. So give this the time it needs. That's going to be very, very key. Now, one thing that's worth mentioning is that NIO had a total amount of deliveries at 806,000 as of July 31st. And with what's going on so far, I just want to say that's going to be very, very important to remember. NIO overall has been very, very bullish with all this news coming out about the Envo launch of the L90, and then their deliveries was quite good. But there's a saying that goes by the rumors sell the news, because we were approaching this big data, and now we're beginning to slow a bit. Also, Goldman Sachs is neutral on us, and we're just seeing the price-price ratio dropping a little bit. There's also external factors affecting Chinese stocks, which is part of why we're seeing a bit of a dip. So keep that in mind. We're still showing some weakness compared to the markets. Despite this, for Tuesday, we do have big data coming out. We have the ISM services numbers, and we have the S&P Global Composite PMI. So keep all of that in mind. There might be some volatility a little bit after the market opens. And then we just got Palantir's earnings. We also have AMD tomorrow after market close. Palantir has a $10 billion deal with the U.S. Army, and simultaneously they had great growth as revenues up 48% year over year. And we also saw their sales increasing with good profitability. So overall, the share price is up quite a bit with cash flow going up. And now that's some good news, because once again, the share price is up quite a bit. Now, we had some news that came out from the U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer, who is saying that in the upcoming days, the new U.S. tariffs are pretty much set, and there's going to likely not be much that changes. He's saying that a lot of these tariff rates are going to be set in stone. President Trump also said that he wants to substantially increase tariffs on India, and he's not happy with the way in which they're buying Russian oil. We have his quote right over here. So he wants to substantially charge India lots of penalties and more tariffs as a result of their business. And then he's made quite a few trade agreements with the UK, Vietnam, and more countries. We're going to see if more deals come the closer we get to the August 7th deadline. So in just a couple of days, we have President Trump's deadline. We'll see what that leads to moving forward. August 7th is when the tariffs are going to be coming into effect. So we'll see if that causes more downside for the markets or not. As a result of negotiations, the European Union also announced they don't want to increase tariffs in the US. At least for now, their retaliatory tariffs are not going to be imposed yet, unless we see some kind of changes. So that being said, because of what we're seeing from China and because of what's happening with NIO so far, we're not able to hold above 4.8. We might kind of consolidate tomorrow, but I see a risk of us testing this 4.5 area. We're going to see if this holds or not. If so, we could try to bounce. If it doesn't, we could reject and start dipping more, especially as we have like a lower high being made here. So you want to be very, very careful. So keep that in mind. As far as SPY goes, I anticipate more upside is likely coming. We're temporarily bouncing. I don't fully trust this bounce, but as long as we're above 631, we're favoring 635. We could be going a bit higher temporarily, but this could be a trap for a lot of bulls. Everyone thinks, we're going to just go to new all-time highs and rally. That might not be the case, because if we get a rejection, we could still be forming a head and shoulders, and simultaneously, if we make a lower high, it could still be another lower high rejection if we can't take out the all-time high. So we could push to that like 635 area, and then we'll see if we reject and continue to dump. So be careful, guys. I don't fully trust this pump, so be very, very mindful of that. Unless we break all-time highs, even on the QQQ, we're trying to push temporarily. This is just a temporary trap for bulls, most likely. Now, if we break the all-time high, I'm bullish, but if we come short, we could push for like 566 and eventually get close to 570 if this continues. But if we can't break the all-time high and we make a lower high, then we're looking for this gap fill all the way down towards the 550 zone. So be careful, guys. IWM test 221 to 222, and we'll see if we reject off that. Look for a bit more upside, and if we turn, we're going to be looking for a move back down to 215. ES has resistance near 6,400. We're going to see how it goes. We have support here becoming resistance, so I do think there could be some upside, and we'll see if we turn back down towards like the 6,350 area. So look for more upside here as we may continue to climb, and we'll see if we get some kind of big rejection to turn back down, so keep that in mind. For NQ is going to be looking for an attempt to push basically to about 23,500, and if this doesn't break, we could be looking for a big rejection. Bitcoin's looking for 115,600 as resistance. If this pushes, we could be looking for rejections as well. So give this the time it needs. We're going to have to see how things end up going. For Tesla, we're trying to push higher right here. We're looking for essentially this 311 to 315 area. It could try to go a bit higher. We're kind of consolidating here. We're showing some weakness, but I could see this to try to get back up to 312 to 315. If that breaks, we're going to be going back up to this upper trend line. So whether it's 315 or up to where this trend line is in the low 320s, we could touch that then resist. And just continue to trade sideways. So we'll just have to see how this goes. For Nvda, we're looking for 182.5, but if we end up losing 177, we're looking for a dip. I do favor the 182.5 area, and I think we could be trying to push a bit higher. Then we'll see if we form like a double top or a bearish divergence before it starts to turn back down to fill that gap, so you want to be very careful. Apple may try to temporarily rebound. Now, we're rejecting so far in Apple. We have a range between 207 to low 200s, but keep in mind there is that gap all the way down below like 200, so it might kind of consolidate between 200 and 207 before potentially dipping lower. For a few more, we have AMD looking more bullish, could be continuing to push for 182, and we'll see if we reject off there to dip back down to fill this gap to 172. So it could be going a bit higher, close to all-time highs before it dips back down. PayPal is going to be looking for a test of 69.78, and we'll see if we reject. Coinbase may consolidate. It's possible we try to get back up to about 325, and we'll see if we reject off that. Amazon is still showing weakness, though. Unless we get back above 212, we're still favoring that gap fill all the way down to 209 to 207. Meta is looking a bit more bullish. It's going for essentially 780 to 800. And we'll see if we reject off that zone, but it still could be looking for this all-time high test. Google is trying to push it, but be careful because there's a tough resistance near 198. If we go a little higher, we might reject and turn back down to 193. Microsoft is looking for an attempt for basically 540 to 545, and we'll see if we reject here. I do think we go a bit higher, at least nonetheless. The VIX is rejecting. We have a gap to fill. It's going to likely continue to dip, and we'll have to see how it ends up reacting. So please keep that in mind. And last but not least, we're just going to have to see how things end up going because it's going to be very, very key for um, us moving forward. With that being said, guys, I thank you all so much for listening. Please have a great rest of your guys' days. The market's going to try to push a bit higher, but NIO is looking relatively weak right now, so there's going to be a risk of us testing 4.5. We have kind of like a double top here, so be ready for some downside, and we'll see how it goes. Thank you for listening. Have a good rest of your guys' days. Look for a 4.5 test on NIO. If it doesn't hold, we're going to be dipping more towards 4.25, and we'll see what happens from there. Thanks again, and peace out.